WDW Radio, your information station.
Hi, it's Lou Mongello from WDW Radio, and I'm here at Norway in Epcot's World Showcase. And I'm exploring the promenade, not just enjoying a little time in the parks and a family vacation, but I'm here because of a mystery. And the mystery involves the new book by Ridley Pearson, Kingdom Keepers 3. And lucky for us, that man behind the curtain is in fact Ridley Pearson, because Kingdom Keepers comes out today, April 6th. Ridley is here in the parks where some of the action takes place. Let's spend a couple minutes chatting with the author of Kingdom Keepers 3, Ridley Pearson. Here in Norway. Ridley, welcome back, I should say.
Thanks, Lou.
So, very exciting. Obviously the response to Kingdom Keepers 1 and 2 was huge, necessitating Volume 3. Tell us a little bit about what Kingdom Keepers 3 has in store.
Well, in the first two books, there are 5 kids who become guides, and they're hologram guides in the Magic Kingdom. In the second book, they're in the Animal Kingdom, and in the third book, we come to Epcot. They think they're just guides, but when they go to sleep at night, they wake up as their holograms in the park, and they're recruited to defeat the Overtakers. You know, Walt Disney created these wonderful villains. We always hear about the fairies and the princesses and all the wonderful heroes. We don't spend a lot of time with the villains, and I'm intrigued by the Disney villains. So in the Kingdom Keepers series, we meet the villains, and the villains want to take over the parks and make them really awful bad experiences, not the wonderful experience we normally have. Now the kids want to stop that. So the Kingdom Keepers are trying to keep the kingdom intact.
Absolutely, and you talked about the villains, and that was one of, the first time I read Kingdom Keepers 1, was one of the parts that really intrigued me, not just because they're normal villains, but you really incorporate a lot of Disney storytelling into your Kingdom Keepers series.
Yeah, there's so many wonderful stories in the parks. I think that was one thing I was struck by the most when I first visited. I didn't come to Disney World until I was a full-on adult and had written many books by that point, and you see that there's a story behind every attraction you see. And I actually contacted Disney, and they said, oh yeah, I mean, we make whole books that tell the story before you ever see the attraction. So it was a really fascinating thing for me to go in and tell those stories deeper.
Well, and as a fan of Disney, specifically the Disney theme parks, the fact that you go into the attractions and backstage attractions, and maybe some places that, you know, even cast members wouldn't find, sort of adds to that mystery and the storytelling.
Yeah, I've been very lucky that Disney's given me such access, because I've gotten all sorts of access you could never get and seen things that people never see, and then I get to write about them.
Yeah, when you talked about the research of the first book, there were a lot of people, myself included, who were very, very jealous of what you got to see and do in the Imagineers. And you incorporate a lot of, again, not just the storytelling, but the Disney characters and the Disney attractions themselves, so people will be able to sort of, as they're reading, get a great visual reminder of exactly where they are and the attractions on the park.
It was terrific when they, you know, when I asked if I could come to Epcot to do the third book, which was just out. They said yes, and I wanted to go to Mission Space. I wanted to come here to Norway to Maelstrom. I wanted to go on Soarin', some of the more obvious things. But I also said to them, is there anything that's really sort of creepy and unknown about Epcot? And they said, well, we have an abandoned pavilion that we haven't opened for about 4 years. And I said, you mean an empty pavilion? And they said, yeah, but we keep it all clean, well lit, it's perfectly set up. And I said, I've got to see that. So a big part of the book takes place in this vacant and empty pavilion.
You know that we're all so intrigued right now, and I want to kind of jump ahead just to that part, because for a lot of us, that's, you know, the cool behind the scenes stuff is what it's all really about.
When you get in this particular pavilion and you get upstairs, I guess for years they've had this carnival theme up there, and they have a full carnival tent set up in the mezzanine. Fabric walls, the whole bit. So I saw that and said, oh, okay, well this has to be in the book. And then shortly attached to that is a conference room. You walk in the conference room, and it's beautiful artwork of as if you're on the inside of a carousel looking out. And when I saw that, I knew that that was eventually where the Kingdom Keepers were going to be led, because it's kind of like being in the Mary Poppins movie all over again.
So do you want to give us a hint and tell us what the pavilion is, or do we have to read it and
You'll just have to read it and find out.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, I'm excited about getting my hands on Kingdom Keepers 3, because, and I said this the first time we spoke, you know, the book is sort of you know, you'd find it maybe in a young adult section, or if you looked online, but this is not just for kids by any stretch of the imagination. As a 40-plus-year-old somewhat adult who hasn't quite grown up yet, I mean, it's an interesting, it's a fun read for anybody that's a Disney fan.
Yeah, well, thanks. The really fun part of it has been that adults have embraced it as much as kids, and it's a family read. It's something, you know, you can read before coming to the park, or if you've never been to the park, and it just makes it all the more fun. Now they've got a website, thekingdomkeepers.com, and there's videos of me going backstage in the various places you're never allowed. There's a game where you can battle the overtakers. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff happening.
And that's what I was going to say. The Kingdom Keepers has grown, I'm sure, very far beyond that first book that you thought was going to be a one and done with Dave. Yeah. Beyond just to a continuing series of books, and I have to believe that 3 is not going to be the last one. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
It is not.
But you've taken it to a whole, maybe because it's the response that you got from fans, young and old. You obviously blog about it. Your blog is very, very popular. I see the kids responding and asking you questions, and you engage them. But there is a new online component. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on, or maybe what's coming online?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that's online right now is the new site, which is thekingdomkeepers.com. Disney has done this amazing job. We came to Epcot and Disney Hollywood Studios months ago and shot a bunch of backstage video, because one of the things the kids always ask is this real? Did this really happen? Can you, and what I write about in the books, as fantastical as it is, and sometimes I stretch it, but those events are things I've done. I went on Small World for the first book in the dark with only the emergency lights on, and I could have sworn one of the dolls moved. And I wrote that down in my notebook, and the guy with me said, "Ridley, don't be an idiot, the doll did not move." I said, "The doll moved, get me off this ride right now." And so in the book, when the kids get in there, the dolls move, they come alive, because that's what my imagination does. So in Maelstrom, all these different places, you get to see videos on thekingdomkeepers.com of me doing these things that the kids then do in the books.
And that's great. And again, for the kids too, and adults, as they read the book at home, and I've had people email me and say this to me, and I'm sure you have as well, they come to the parks now looking for the places you're talking about, looking for the little clues or secrets, or maybe, hey, is that the hidden doorway that's going to take me into the secret room in the castle?
And you never know, maybe we'll end up doing something in a park one of these days, you never know.
I love the tease. I love the tease.
Got a tease.
Excellent. So to read your blog, they can go to?
They can go to my website, which is ridleypearson.com, and you go to the kids side of the site, which is real obvious, and you just click on read the blog, join the blog.
And obviously head on over thekingdomkeepers.com.
That's a fun experience. Yeah,
very, very exciting. Really looking forward to Kingdom Keepers 3. Ridley Pearson, thank you so much. Congratulations, and
thank you.
Looking forward to reading it.
Can't wait. And the axe he was carrying, Philby said, I didn't see that. I didn't mention it to any of the others because I didn't think they saw it either, but oh yes, the redhead was carrying a very large axe. You're so comforting. I try. Well, try a little less, would you, Maybeck said. Get in the boat, Philby advised. I'll turn on the ride, he said, pointing to a console, and jump in as it's moving. And if you happen not to make it and I end up in there alone, the sword, Philby said. You'd better not chicken out and leave me to do this alone. Don't sweat it. I'll make it to the boat in time. Maybeck climbed into the second row. Philby hit the start button on the console and ran to the edge with plenty of time to spare and climbed in alongside Maybeck. What's this? Came the voice from a white, bearded old man in white clothes. He didn't look like any robot. He looked real. How dare you come here? Stop. This is troll country. Be gone. I cast a spell. At mention of a spell, Maybeck snapped his head around to check with Philby. I heard it, said Philby. The scene's events were happening quickly now, too quickly. An incredibly ugly troll would appear at the old man's side. Yes, yes, you'll disappear, disappear, bye-bye. It's them, Philby said. For it seemed to him the script had to have been written by the Overtakers themselves. Spells, disappearance, everything the Overtakers wanted for the Kingdom Keepers. Bye-bye, Maybeck.